I go with GSP. You know, just his overall takedowns, and you know he's just a smart fighter when he gets out there. I mean, he knows how to win.
Whenever GSP fights anybody, he's gonna win. He always wins. But damn, man, I wish he would finish fights like he did before, man.
Hey, man, I know you guys are Canadian, but the orange runs deep with me. Johny Hendricks, go Pokes.
I want to give this one. This one's a big toss-up, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to Hendricks.
I'm going to go Hendricks. I feel like it's his time. You know, he's a great fighter. He's also got the punching power to win. But again, George is the champion for a reason, and he's been there for a very long time. So that's a close one. But you know, if I got to pick anyone, it's going to be Hendricks.
I think GSP's going to get him. I like Johny Hendricks. Johny Hendricks has that one punch power to get him. But as you saw, the fight went on with Carlos Condit, but Carlos Condit creates chaos in the octagon, so that can fluster a guy. But GSP has the stand-up, and he also has the elevation change. So I have to give the GSP.
Hendricks is coming hungrier for the victory. It's going to be hard for both of them, but well, I'm going to go. It's hard. I'm going to go with Hendricks.
I like GSP. GSP is one of the guys. He knows how to win. Hendricks is, in your face, but GSP's wrestling is gonna, eliminate his power and his punches. He can't come forward with them hard punches if you're getting taken down every time. So GSP has a style to beat him.
This is a tough fight. I would never bet against GSP, but I think Hendricks just presents so many problems for George, and I think it's the perfect storm.
I'm rooting for Johny Hendricks, granted, because I like the beard, and everyone always has to fear the left hand. But George St-Pierre is so good at making everyone look foolish at their best. And since George is always so good at wrestling, he's going to defeat another great wrestler.
I'm actually going to go with Hendricks on this one. I think just the wrestling base, the weird angles that Hendricks comes in at, and GSP, obviously, I don't think he's going to risk standing with him. So I think it's an interesting fight, but I'm pulling Hendricks for the upset.
Very good matchup. I would say George has the edge pretty much everywhere, except for maybe explosive striking power. Go to Johny Hendricks. So I'd give Johny obviously more than a puncher's chance because he's a very good wrestler. But I'd say overall George has him in pretty much every area.
I think St-Pierre is gonna win. He's a phenomenal guy. No, I am a St-Pierre. He's a fan. I love his style, man, and I think he's so strategic. He put the things in the right moment. I think he's gonna win the decision.
So I've known Hendricks in the wrestling world for a long time. Watched him compete. Was wrestling at the same time in the NCAA's and stuff that he was, and the guy is definitely a gamer also, and can definitely put it together. I think if anyone can beat GSP, I think it's going to be Hendricks. He has the power in his hands to knock people out. We've kind of seen in the past that GSP can sometimes get brought down with a big punch and or kick, but it is GSP. I mean, the guy has been doing this for a long time, has the experience, and is very strong and very athletic, and might find a way to win. So
I don't know, man. I think George will take that. He's just like that. He's an incredible fighter, and he fights safe, very safe.
I have to go with Johny Hendricks. That is no choice for me. That is no choice, because as much as I respect GSP, I will always be loyal to wrestlers. Always.
George St-Pierre. Why? He's got an all-rounder game. He's very smart. He's probably the smartest fighter in the UFC, so he can win fights.
You know what? I'm super excited about this fight. I think GSP, again, pound for pound, is one of the best fighters in the world. He's definitely going to go down in history as one of the greatest champions. This fight is really going to test him. I think if he beats him, might as well retire, because I don't think there's anything more that he can do in the sport. I think moving up to fight in a weight class is silly. But Hendricks, I think, poses everything that is going to be a problem for George. I mean, I'm really excited about this fight. If anybody can pull it off, it's George St-Pierre. But as far as if I had to go into a room right now, a laboratory, and say, hey, invent a guy that could beat George St-Pierre, I'm like, okay, well, a guy hits really, really hard, because we've seen him get caught before by Matt Serra. So we have one of the hardest hitting 170-pounders who, oh, let's make him a multiple national champion and top finisher at all times. This out of Oklahoma. That would be phenomenal. Let's make the guy just a gritty wrestler. Okay. And now you have Johny Hendricks, and that's who you just created. And so that's who he has to fight for 5 rounds and successfully keep taking him down. We haven't seen Hendricks get, really just destroyed by anybody or caught. A guy hits hard, has a chin. I mean, he took shots, flying knees from Carlos Condit. Carlos was hitting it with everything that could, and I've trained with Carlos. On his feet, Carlos is phenomenal. But the wrestling aspect just obviously slides his way. So I'm super excited about that. Might be one of the fights I'm looking forward to most right now out of the whole year. When that fight comes up, I'm definitely traveling to see that thing.
I think GSP that's a really tough one to call because it's hard to bet against GSP. He's just been so dominant, but Johny Hendricks is the matchup to do it, right? Like he's got that badass left hand, and his wrestling is good enough to hopefully, or it could nullify George's wrestling, which would be pretty exciting.
Johnny's my boy, and again, he has the power to knock out whoever he's up against. But again, George is just so dialed in and calculated and smart that he just really picks the opponents apart 3 months before he's even in the cage, so it's hard to go up against him and tell you that he'll lose. But again, if there's one knock against George, it's the chin that he got knocked out with against Matt's era.
I hope Johny Hendricks lands that right hand and finishes him.
George's my dude, man. So I think that's definitely probably a tougher fight for George than he's had these past couple guys just because of the wrestling thing. But I think you're going to see some. I know I'm a USA wrestler and this and that, but George's wrestling is so good. For we call it shoot box. Sparring into takedowns. No one does it better than him.
Oh, such a tough fight. I don't know. Hendricks hits really hard. GSP will try and have a strong game plan to not get touched.
Hendricks, good old fisherman boy, man, and he's got that puncher's chance, but he got tired taking Carlos down a bunch. So in the later rounds with George, 5 rounds, can he still keep that solid punch? I don't know, and George can. I mean, George is a 5-rounder. That's what George, that's what he does. And so, can George grind it out and win? I think so. But can Johny knock his boots off? He might.